I, 34F, need to vent about the ongoing drama with my extended family regarding my cousin Daphne's, 32F, upcoming wedding shower. This whole situation has exploded into something I never expected, and I need outside perspective. Daphne and I grew up together and were quite close as children. We spent every summer at our grandparents' lake house, shared clothes during our early teens, and were even in the same friend group until high school. Around age 16 to 17, we started drifting apart. She got into the popular crowd while I focused more on academics. By college, we barely talked. Now, we haven't had a real conversation in about 10 years, only exchanging basic pleasantries at the few family gatherings I managed to attend. I have twin boys, 4M, Jimmy and Tommy. Tommy has cerebral palsy, which we discovered when they were about 6 months old. My husband Mike, 36M, and I have been through hell and back these past 4 years. Tommy needs constant care, multiple weekly therapy sessions, and special equipment that insurance only partially covers. We've depleted our savings and had to remortgage our house to keep up with the medical bills. In our family, there's this long-standing tradition where I've somehow become the designated host for wedding and baby showers. Between 2015 and 2018, I hosted and paid for showers for 3 of my cousins. Sarah's wedding shower cost around $3,000, Emma's baby shower, $2,500, and Lisa's wedding shower, almost $4,000. Back then, I had a great job in finance and could afford these expenses. I actually enjoyed doing it because I believed in supporting family. However, when I got married in 2010, nobody offered to throw me a shower. My mom, 58F, said everyone was too busy that year. I was hurt but kept quiet because I didn't want to seem demanding. Then when I found out I was having twins, again, no shower was planned. No gifts arrived either. The real kicker came after we learned about Tommy's condition. Those first 2 years were brutal. I called my mom, my sister Rachel, 36F, and various aunts countless times asking for help. We needed someone to watch Jimmy while we took Tommy to therapy. Or just an extra pair of hands when Mike had to work overtime to cover the medical bills. Every single time, there was an excuse. Too busy with work, kids' activities, other commitments. Even my sister, who lives just 20 minutes away, never once offered to help. Last week, my Aunt Carol, Daphne's mom, 55F, called about hosting Daphne's wedding shower. She didn't even ask, she just started telling me her expectations. The shower would need to accommodate 75 people minimum. She wanted a sit-down lunch with at least 3 courses, an open bar, decorations matching Daphne's wedding colors, and personalized party favors. When I tried to interject, she talked over me about table settings and centerpieces. I finally managed to tell her I couldn't do it. I explained our financial situation, Tommy's care requirements, and how I barely have energy to get through regular days. She went silent for a moment, then exploded. She called me selfish, said I was breaking family tradition, and accused me of trying to ruin Daphne's wedding experience. I lost it. Years of hurt came pouring out. I told her about how isolated and abandoned I felt when nobody helped with the twins. How I've spent countless nights crying while trying to soothe Tommy through pain after his therapy sessions, wishing I had family support. How I watched other family members get endless support while we struggled alone. She dismissed everything, saying that was all in the past and family should still help family now. When I pointed out that logic should have applied when I needed help, she said I was being petty and holding grudges. Since then, it's been a nightmare. My mom called to tell me I'm being dramatic and should just do it to keep peace. My other cousins are posting passive-aggressive comments on social media about ungrateful family members who forget their roots. My sister Rachel thinks I should just suck it up and do it, suggesting I could ask others to chip in for costs, the same people who never helped us. The worst part came when my grandparents, both 80, got involved. They've always been my safe space in the family. Growing up, I spent more time at their house than my own. Grandfather taught me to fish, and grandmother taught me to bake. But even they are disappointed in me. Grandfather particularly expressed his disappointment, saying family traditions matter and I'm letting everyone down. When I tried explaining my side to Daphne directly, she was horrible. She said I was clearly jealous of her perfect life and upcoming perfect wedding. She brought up how I barely attend family functions anymore, because of Tommy's care needs, and said maybe if I made more effort to be involved in family activities, people would have helped more when I needed it. I don't regret saying no. We literally cannot afford it. Tommy has surgery coming up next month that insurance only partially covers. I also physically don't have the energy to plan and host such a big event. Between Tommy's care, Jimmy's needs, and regular life, I'm exhausted all the time. My husband fully supports my decision and is angry at how the family is treating me. He suggested maybe we could contribute a smaller amount to keep peace, but I don't want to give in. Why should I empty our already strained accounts for someone who hasn't been part of my life for a decade, while the people demanding this never helped us in our darkest times? I know I've rambled, but I needed to get this out. Am I wrong for standing my ground? Should I just find a way to make it work to keep peace in the family? Update 1 first, thank you for all the support in the comments. The situation has gotten significantly worse since my last post, and I need to share what's happened. A few days after posting, my sister Rachel came over, looking troubled. After some hesitation, she revealed something that made my blood run cold. Daphne has been actively working to get me removed from grandfather's will. According to Rachel, Daphne started this campaign right after I refused to host her shower, but she'd been laying groundwork for weeks before that. Daphne has been visiting grandfather almost daily, usually when grandmother is at her bridge club. During these visits, she's been feeding him a carefully crafted narrative about how I've changed. She tells him I've become bitter, selfish, and don't care about family anymore. She's been showing him screenshots of my social media posts where I occasionally vented about family issues, completely twisting them out of context. The most infuriating part is how she's using Tommy's condition in her manipulation. She told grandfather that I'm exaggerating Tommy's medical needs to avoid family obligations and get sympathy. She suggested that I'm using his disability as an excuse to distance myself from family, claiming she has proof that Tommy isn't as ill as I claim. When Rachel heard this part, she finally felt she had to tell me. But it gets worse. Daphne has been spreading a narrative throughout the family that I refused to host her shower because I'm planning to ask grandfather for money for Tommy's treatments. She's painting me as someone trying to manipulate grandfather for his money, when I've never asked him for a cent. According to her, I'm trying to ensure I get a larger share of the inheritance by playing up Tommy's needs. I confronted Daphne over text. Her response was chilling. She said someone needed to show grandfather my true colors before I cleaned out his bank account. She claimed my refusal to host her shower was proof that I don't value family traditions or relationships, and therefore don't deserve to be in the will. She even had the audacity to say she was doing this for grandfather's own good. Aunt Carol is fully supporting her daughter's actions. She's been telling everyone who will listen that I've always been jealous of Daphne's success and stable life. According to her, my financial struggles aren't because of Tommy's medical bills, but due to poor money management and my selfish choices. She's even suggested that if I had maintained better family relationships, I wouldn't be struggling now. The hardest part is seeing how this is affecting my relationship with grandfather. When I tried to visit him last weekend, something that used to be our weekly tradition, he said he was too tired to see me. This has never happened before. I later learned from grandmother's helper that Daphne had spent the morning with him, showing more evidence of my supposed greed and disloyalty. My mom's reaction has been particularly disappointing. Instead of defending me, she thinks I should just apologize and offer to help with the shower to fix things. She actually suggested I could put the shower expenses on a credit card because family peace is priceless. When I reminded her about Tommy's upcoming surgery, she said I was being difficult and using Tommy as an excuse. Rachel feels guilty for telling me about Daphne's manipulation but still thinks I'm making things worse by not giving in. She keeps saying that if I just hosted the shower, all this would go away. She doesn't seem to understand that this isn't about the shower anymore, it's about years of neglect and now outright manipulation. The only unexpected support came from my cousin Mark, 38M, who's always been a bit removed from family drama. He called me after hearing Daphne's stories, saying he remembered how nobody helped when Tommy was diagnosed. He expressed regret for not being there and has been trying to defend me to other family members. Unfortunately, most are firmly on Daphne's side. My husband is livid. He wants to confront the entire family, especially Daphne and Aunt Carol, but I've asked him not to. We need to focus on Tommy's surgery next month, and I can't handle more family drama right now. Plus, I fear any confrontation would just give Daphne more ammunition. The most painful part is knowing that my relationship with grandfather might be permanently damaged. We've always had a special bond. He was more of a father to me than my own dad who left when I was young. The thought that Daphne has managed to poison even this relationship breaks my heart. I never wanted or expected anything from grandfather's will. Our relationship was always about love and shared moments, not inheritance. The fact that Daphne has turned this into a money grab says more about her than me. I'm lost about what to do next. Standing my ground seems right, but watching my family relationships crumble is devastating. At the same time, giving in now feels like letting Daphne win and validating her manipulation. Update 2: I never expected to post another update, but something major happened that turned this whole situation on its head. My grandmother discovered what Daphne has been doing. She had started taking afternoon naps in the sunroom instead of her bedroom, something Daphne and Aunt Carol didn't know. During one of their visits, she overheard them discussing their plan to get me removed from the will. They were laughing about how easy it was to manipulate grandfather and planning what to say during their next visit. Grandmother didn't confront them immediately. Instead, she spent a week gathering evidence. She found the folder where Daphne had been keeping her proof against me. She also went through grandfather's phone and found all the messages Daphne had been sending him about me. Then she pulled out all the medical bills and documentation about Tommy's condition that I had shared with her over the years. What nobody knew was that grandmother had been secretly helping us with some of Tommy's medical bills for the past year. She saw how much we were struggling but kept her help quiet because she knew grandfather was being influenced by Daphne. She had also kept records of all my late-night calls when I was struggling with Tommy's care, not asking for money, just needing someone to talk to. Grandmother called a family meeting at their house. Everyone was required to attend, no excuses. When we arrived, she had everything laid out on the dining room table, Daphne's evidence folder, my medical bills, and her own records. The meeting was intense. Grandmother made Daphne show everyone the social media posts and messages she had shown grandfather. In context, they clearly showed a struggling mother venting about lack of family support, not someone trying to manipulate anyone for money. Grandmother then revealed how she had been helping us, explaining that she kept it secret because she saw how quick everyone was to judge and twist things. Aunt Carol tried defending Daphne, saying she was just protecting family interests and that I had brought this on myself by refusing to host the shower. But grandmother shut that down fast. She pulled out a notebook where she had kept track of every time she had personally asked family members to help when the twins were born. She read out every excuse, every rejection, complete with dates. The most powerful moment came when grandmother talked about the night Tommy was diagnosed. She had called everyone in the family asking them to help, but no one showed up. She described how she found me in the hospital parking lot, crying alone because Mike had to go home to watch Jimmy and nobody else would come sit with me. Grandfather was devastated. He broke down when he realized how thoroughly he'd been manipulated. He tried apologizing to me, but honestly, the damage is done. I can't forget how easily he believed the worst about me, how quickly he discarded our relationship based on Daphne's lies. Daphne's fiancé was at the meeting and looked shell-shocked. He kept asking her if she really orchestrated all this just because I wouldn't host a party. They left the meeting separately, and I heard later that they're postponing the wedding. My mom and sister finally apologized for pressuring me and not helping with the twins. But their apologies felt hollow, they're only sorry because grandmother exposed everything. I'm keeping my distance from them. The only good thing to come from this is Mark's continued support. He and his wife have started helping with childcare when they can, which is more than anyone else did in 4 years. It means a lot that at least someone in the family stepped up. I'm grateful for grandmother's support and for exposing the truth, but this situation has shown me who my family really is. Some relationships can't be fixed just because the truth comes out. The trust is gone. Update 3. This will be my final update. After the explosive family meeting at grandmother's house, things have settled into a new, albeit uncomfortable, normal. Daphne's wedding has been postponed indefinitely. Her fiancé was deeply troubled by what he learned about her behavior and demanded they go to couples counseling before proceeding with any wedding plans. They're still together, but things are strained. Through grandmother, Daphne tried to send me an apology letter. She wrote about how she let jealousy and wedding stress cloud her judgment. I returned it unopened. Some actions can't be excused with fancy words on paper. Aunt Carol remains convinced I'm the villain in this story. She still believes I should have just hosted the shower and avoided all this drama. She's been telling anyone who'll listen that I destroyed her daughter's perfect wedding plans because I'm bitter about my own life. After she kept sending me guilt-tripping messages about family loyalty and tradition, I finally blocked her number. Life's too short for that negativity. The most significant change has been in my relationship with grandfather. He's been trying hard to make amends, visiting regularly to spend time with Tommy and Jimmy. He's actually showing interest in Tommy's medical journey now, asking questions about his treatments and progress. But I keep our interactions polite and distant. The trust we once had is broken. I can't forget how quickly he believed I was using my son's disability to get his money. It hurt too deeply. Grandmother understands my position and supports my decision to maintain emotional distance. My mom and sister have appointed themselves as family peacemakers. They keep suggesting family therapy or professional mediation. I declined. I don't need to pay someone to tell me why I should forgive people who abandoned us when we needed them most. My sister still doesn't understand why I won't let it go for family peace. The silver lining in all this mess is that Tommy is doing much better after his surgery. His physical therapy is showing real progress. Mark and his wife have become regular fixtures in our lives. Their kids love playing with the twins, and they've been genuinely helpful. It's nice to finally have some family support, even if it's not from who I expected. Grandmother took matters into her own hands regarding the will situation. She amended their will to set up a trust specifically for Tommy's ongoing care. When I tried to refuse, she was adamant. She said she couldn't change how the family failed us in the past, but she could ensure Tommy's future care wouldn't depend on family goodwill. I've learned some hard lessons through this experience. Sometimes the family you're born into isn't the family you end up with. The people who show up consistently, Mark's family, our close friends, and grandmother, they're our real family now. Blood relation means nothing without actions to back it up. I'm done trying to maintain relationships just because we share DNA. My energy needs to go toward my children's well-being and the people who actually support us. The others can keep their traditions and expectations. I'm focusing on building a better, healthier environment for my kids, even if that means smaller family gatherings and fewer relationships.